This is a full in-depth guide on the new mobile acid lab business in GTA Online, which honestly isn't that great, but you know here on the channel we're all about making money methods, so sit back, I have all the info about this business, and subscribe to see more. Now to get the acid lab, first thing, this is the first time Rockstar has ever done this. You need to first complete all 6 first dose missions in the acid lab. That's the first time they've ever done this. It's locked behind missions, which is actually pretty cool because the missions are pretty fun. They pay out pretty decently and you could do them solo. So good for solo people, this method. Or you could do it with a crew, but if you do it with a crew, that will not count towards your progress. You have to be the leader to unlock the acid lab. Once you have completed all these missions, you can now buy the acid lab in the freak shop. Yeah, even after setting it up yourself, you have to pay $750,000 for it, which is actually pretty cheap. But if you have GTA Plus, you get it for free. Totally not pay to win at all, but if you don't want the acid lab, you still get the Brigade 6x6 for free, which has some pretty decent customization options. And this takes up to 50 homing rockets, so it's one of the best vehicles to survive in. Even if you don't plan to have the business at all, I do recommend you just get this because it is so worth it. It's pretty fast too, has good customization, and one of the best vehicles to survive in. Now first we gotta talk about the upgrades. To get the full maximum take for this business, you're gonna have to complete 10 DAX missions. So you have to call him and complete 10 of these missions that actually take a while because there's a 50-minute cooldown timer after each one. So that adds up to about 10 hours you're gonna have to spend for this upgrade, but it will be worth it in the end if you do plan on using this business. After that, it's an extra $250,000 for the equipment upgrades. That will give you an increase in production speed and value for the product. So I would definitely do that considering the price increase you get when selling with those upgrades. Everything else is already unlocked for you, like the speed and the weapons and the bike that I made bright pink, so they know who's killing them. If I roll up in someone in a bright pink bike, they're gonna be afraid. So that's a total of $1 million for the fully upgraded business. But again, you have to complete 10 DAX missions to get the equipment upgrade, which I would do before you even sell it at all. I think that gives you about a $100,000 bonus, even more. So going inside of the vehicle, you have 3 different options. You can talk to Mutt to source acid, you can sell the product, and you can speed up the production. Now that one is really great because that adds up on top of the other upgrades for the speed. So now the production is tripled. You can only do that once a day. So every time you log in, you're planning on using this business, even if you're not selling this day, go do this every time because it's a once a day thing and it speeds up as long as you're on. So moving on to sourcing missions, they're all pretty easy. You have to go up north to collect the supplies and bring it back to the acid lab or the freak shop or the gas station. One of those 3. The one I had in gameplay you're seeing, I had to get a van to deliver it to a freak shop, which was pretty easy. Now I would always use the brigade to drive there because if you do get a mission where you have to deliver it back to the brigade, you do not have to travel back and you're already next to it. So that's one tip. You also want to put the lab in the middle of the map so you don't have to drive too far. If you put it in Sandy Shores, you won't get any missions in Sandy Shores because the game will be like, oh, you're right here, we're not going to give you a mission 2 blocks away. So I would park it right outside the city, just right outside of the main city, so that way it's faster to travel in any location, either to the north or to the south, to the location of the mission. You guys can subscribe to see me doing all these missions live and giving you guys tips on how to complete it the fastest way possible. I'm going to break down everything about the prices and value now, starting with how much you can hold at one time. So the capacity is 160 units of acid product, and you get 1.5 bars after each sourcing mission. So doing the missions gets you about 1.5 bars of supplies. It's different for each mission, but on average, that's what you get. But you also have a different option to buy the supplies, which I prefer. So buying the supplies only costs you 60k to buy the full supplies. And each bar of supplies costs 12k. So what does that get you? Without the upgrades, it gets you 2 bars of supplies and producing 1 unit of acid. And fully upgraded 1 bar of supplies produces 1 unit of acid. So fully upgrading it is really worth it because it's almost double that. And then in total 60k worth of supplies produces 74,250, not upgraded at all. And fully upgraded 60k worth of supplies produces 209,500, which is a pretty big increase. Now, if you do plan on buying the supplies, which again I prefer because you could stack other money making methods on top of this one, you have to buy the supplies 3 times if you have no upgrades at all. So 60k times 3 plus 12k, which is the total you'll need to get full production. That will be 192,000 going to have to spend with no upgrades to get the full value of the asset lab. But if you do have all the upgrades, you only have to do it 2 times. So 60k plus 36,000 means you will be spending 96,000 to get the full product. So only buying the supplies will net you about $225,000 after paying for the supplies and selling it. So that is only about $100,000 less than what you would spend about an hour going out sourcing it yourself. So that's why I say buying it is better. Even for the bunker this was true, but for this one it is true again because you can stack other methods on top of this one. So looking at the value of the asset, 1 unit is $2,095 fully upgraded or $1,485 not upgraded. And you can hold 160 units of acid product, so the full acid product sells for $335,200 fully upgraded or $237,600 not upgraded. So that is a big increase, about $100,000. And again, that's not taking account if you're buying it or sourcing it, that's just in general how much you will be getting. So how much time does this take for everything to produce in your acid lab? So the production time, 1 unit of acid takes about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to be prepared without any upgrades, and then down to 1 minute and 30 seconds with full upgrades. And you can stack this on top of the speed up feature, which doubles the speed of production for only half of your total stock, but it's still pretty fast, bringing it to 1 minute and 8 seconds without any upgrades and only 45 seconds with full upgrades. So again, really worth it to do the 10 DAX missions and get these upgrades because it does all add up. The timing, not upgraded, full stock takes about 6 hours boosted speed, 4 hours and 30 minutes. And the fully upgraded full stock takes 4 hours and with boosted speeds, 3 hours. To compare that to the bunker, you are getting less, but it takes less time too. Well, again, that only adds up to about 300,000 per hour, and that is terrible. But again, this is an AFK method. Do not do this just by itself. You want to stack stuff on top of this, unless you're leaving your console on overnight. Maybe it's fine, but you do want to be stacking other stuff on top of this. So that would be, so think of this as an extra 300k for doing nothing, basically. So if you buy the supplies and then do other stuff on top of this, that is basically extra 300,000 for doing nothing. And then when you go on to sell, don't forget about the high demand bonus, which is now only 20 people have to be in your session. So fully upgraded stock would usually sell for 335,200 solo, but in a 20 player session, selling with the high demand bonus and using Ghost Org, because always use Ghost Org. I will touch on this in a minute, but that is a huge help. It will sell for $502,000, which is a big bonus, almost 200,000 more. And I would really recommend doing that because, again, Ghost Organization adds up to 2 minutes of operator, so no one can see you. And in this gameplay you're seeing here, I got really lucky. There were 2 jets in front of me taking off. I swear I thought I was gonna be killed by them. So I had the solo public session glitch ready to go. And I would recommend doing the same because you never know who might come after you. So just be prepared. Even if you are in the full public session, be prepared to glitch yourself into solo public or at least back out of the game so they don't kill your stock. I know that was a lot, but that's the full breakdown of all the logistics of it. So selling will get you 335,200 or 225,000 if you buy the supplies. That is the total net value of this business, which is what I recommend doing, buying the supplies, because then you could make that money back by doing other missions, making this a pretty decent AFK business. It's not as good as the bunker, but for being smaller, it's not that bad because you're selling smaller amounts of product, but also at half the time of the bunker. Now some tips for selling. I've only gotten 1 vehicle every time I sold, so that makes it super easy to sell, making it better than the bunker too, because with the bunker you could get up to 4 vehicles with full stock, but this one I have only gotten one about after 5 times of selling, so I think it's only one vehicle guaranteed. So this business is really good for solo players like myself, being able to sell solo and set this whole thing up solo. It is a solo friendly business. Now moving on to some tips with sourcing, they're all pretty easy, but there's one annoying mission where you have to drive a tractor all the way back to the city. Now that one you have to go take out these guys in the field and then go find a tractor in the field and the product in the field, and then drive back to the gas station. If you are sourcing, it doesn't matter where you do it, you get the same amount every time, so do it in an invite only session. And as you see here, I delivered my product and I sold it. And that is everything you need to know about the mobile asset lab business in GTA Online. It's pretty decent. It's not good, but it's not bad also. I would recommend doing it on top of other stuff. This is one of the easiest to sell, but maybe if they do double money, which is possible because it doesn't pay that much, but double money, they could do that in the future. So at least let's set this up for now and make your money back with it, because it's not much, only a $1 million entry fee to this whole thing. You can make that back in about 3 selling missions of this business, or even 2 if you do use the high demand bonus to your advantage. But for the update itself, not that big of an update, just a small little business with some storylines. I liked the story. The business is fine. I mean, it's a little thing to do on the side. I probably won't be doing it too much, but it is a decent way to make money or stack this money on top of other money making opportunities in GTA Online. So I will update you guys if any new methods come out with this business. But again, what I recommend doing, stack this business on top of other businesses, because this business is not just a business you're going to be doing by itself. This business is something in the background you're going to want to have running up a lot. An easy 300k, maybe even 500k if you are doing the high demand bonus challenge, which I always recommend you do because that's the extra 200k you get on top of the 300k for this business. But yeah, that is everything you need to know about this business. You guys got this far, that probably means you liked it, so leave a like and subscribe to see whatever video I make next.